Hey kids! Alright, so we're gonna wrap up our season 1 of Music Theory, so stay tuned! Hey kids! Alright, welcome back. So, this is your 4th music theory lesson, the final in the first series. So for example, you know how TV shows have like seasons? Well, this is quote unquote season 1 of music theory. We're just gonna wrap this up and take a short test. But first things first, let's do a little bit of review. I'm sure you can see the screen. You can see my pencil. Hey kids, I'm Mr. Hey, shh, don't talk to the kids. So sometimes my pencil gets aggravated, go figure. But we're just gonna start with a little review. You're gonna tell me what this is. If you said treble clef, that means you're paying attention. So if that's a treble clef, also known as a G clef, then what note is this? Yes, that is G, because the G clef's little swirl here lets us know that G is on that line. So if I put a note down here, what note is that? Nice. You remember that it's reverse alphabetical order, and when we go down, the letters go in reverse alphabetical order. But let's go back up to G, like this. If I went here, what note would that be? You got it. So now that I went up, it starts over and we're back on A. But here's a real challenge. I'm going to skip this line right here and I'm going to go all the way to this note, and the stem's going to go down now because I went through this middle line. So what note is that going to be if I skip this line right here? Yes, that's C. Now, you have your keyboard notes. If I go over to the keyboard, let's see if I can find G. Neat. Okay. So listen to this very carefully. So I just read those notes on the page. Excellent. So today is about our very first scale. So if you have your paper at home or you have it in your desk, you're going to pull this out and you're going to draw another treble clef like this. And instead of starting on G though, you're going to start on middle C, which you draw a line down here. And then you put your first note down there. Again, it's only one line you draw here. Then you go up space, line, space, line, space, line, space. Remember, we passed the middle note, so the stem goes down. And I'll write in the notes like this. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. That is the C major scale, and now you have it forever. So I'm going to give you just a few minutes to memorize this, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. Good. So you memorized all of these notes. You memorized where C was, where D was, E, F, G, A, B, C, all the way to the top. Now, before we play our game and you take your test, I'm just going to make sure you knew a couple other things first. This is a quarter note. That gets one beat. Bah, bah, bah. If your notes are tied together like this, those are eighth notes. Because they're split in half, they get 1/8 instead of 1/4, 1/4, as opposed to 1/8. Now, you're big kids. I know that I showed you the 16th notes. But we haven't spent a lot of time on those, so I'll give you a kind of a break on that. This is a rest. Kind of looks like a lightning bolt. That's a quarter, so I'll put a 1/4, rest. That means you don't make any sound at all. And then, of course, if it's not filled in, that means half, which means it gets 2 beats. And then, of course, also known as a potato note, is a whole note, and it gets all 4 beats. All right, are y'all ready to play our game? Here we go. So, I'm going to put something like this up on the screen. I'm going to give you a few seconds to say what it is. If you get it right, good job. If you don't, just try again next time. So this is an E. Good. Next. What note is that? C. Nice. What note is that? That's also C. Good job. You remembered. That should be easy to figure out. It's just the space above that low line we just saw, which means it's... That's right, it's D. You guys are smarter than you look. This is a challenge. So if you notice, grab my pencil, you notice that this is where C was. So if I just go up, that means it's D. Nailed it. Which note is that? I'll help you just in case. So here's C, B, reverse alphabetical when we're going down. That makes this A. Yeah, pretty much. Let's see what else we have here. This should be simple. Remember where C was? Yes, that is B. Good job. Here's a curveball. What note is that? Just kidding, there isn't one. And last but not least, what note is that? That's right, because it's on this line, it's a G clef. All right, let's do some note values. If you don't remember note values, that's how long they are. So what kind of note is this? Let me zoom out a little bit. You said 8 notes. Nice job. What's this? That's a quarter rest. Outstanding. Trick one. That's also an 8th note. It has a tail. It's just not connected to another one, but that's still an 8th note. This should be easy. That's a whole note. It gets 4 beats. Which one is this? That's a half note. It gets 2 beats. Last but not least, my favorite of all time. If you said quarter note, good job. All right, kids, that's all the music theory we have for today. Until next season, bye, kids.